Hmm. Just trying to set up properly. Just trying to set up properly. Give me a second, guys. Okay. Okay. You see the title, ladies and gentlemen. You see the title. New York City media is blaming Karl Anthony Towns for the loss of the Indiana Pacers. They blaming Cat, ladies and gentlemen. They are blaming Cat, ladies and gentlemen. It's Cat fault. You gotta see these tweets, guys. You know, you have people in the media that's basically trying to run Cat out of town. And I said again, you have people in New York City media that is trying to run Cat out of town. Now, let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this. This is the reason why nobody wants to play for New York. So let's back it up a little bit. Let's back it up a little bit. Knicks fans would like to think that this is an ideal destination landing spot for free agents. However, historically, statistics don't show that. New York does not get free agents, big free agents. That's what they did. New York Knicks, they do not land big free agents. It's just facts. If we do the history and we start to look at some of the biggest free agents that New York City have landed throughout the years, what are we talking about? We're talking about Stoudemire. And let me stop there. Stoudemire is the biggest name free agent that the New York Knicks have ever signed. The biggest name, the most popular free agent that the New York Knicks have ever signed in their history was Amari Stoudemire. I don't want to talk about guys like Brunson. Why? Because Brunson's name wasn't as big as Stoudemire's name was when he signed. I mean, to the point that when the New York Knicks gave Brunson a $100 million contract, people questioned that. Dallas wouldn't even give him that contract. So people questioned the big contract that the New York Knicks gave him. Fortunately for New York, it worked out. Because some people questioned, was that contract too big? Was New York overpaying this guy? So we can't wait and see that he become the person that he became and then start talking as if we knew that this was going to happen. Because inside, the Knicks obviously knew what's going to happen. They knew the potential of it happening. But New York City media wasn't on board with Bronson. So I don't want to talk about Bronson. Stoudemire, Allen Houston. These are some of the biggest signings that New York has ever made. Point blank. These are some of the biggest signings. New York is not a destination landing spot for free agents because it's too much comes along with being part of this organization. And we're going to break this down, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to break it down. Let's start with where we want to start it, guys. Let's start with the media. Then we want to go on to the fans. So let's start on with the media. The media sets the tone. Let's be clear. New York City media sets the tone. What do you mean by that, independent, Rob? With the media push out there, mainstream media I'm referring to, the propaganda that they push out there, it sets the tone for how the fans respond. What I mean is, if the media is constantly promoting changes, trades, we need to fire this one, we need to replace that one, then the fans is going to pick up on that energy, and now you're going to hear the fans repeat, sentiments. So the media in New York City, to be honest with you, they are the biggest culprits in this. New York City media are the biggest culprits in this. Because we can look at things two ways. Two ways we can look at this. Either the glass half full or the glass half empty. So when I look at something like and hear things like we need to trade Cat, you're looking at the glass half empty. Opposed to saying it's half full. But it starts with the media, ladies and gentlemen. It starts with the media. They're the first ones that push out this propaganda. They are the first ones that do that. After the media pushes and promotes this propaganda, it trickles down to the Knicks fan base because they join in with these sentiments. Yeah, he didn't do this and that and this and that. But you know who also is responsible for this, ladies and gentlemen? The Knicks organization. Because they can quickly shut the propaganda down immediately. As I said previously, New York Knicks had a good season this year. They won 51 games. And now you wait to lose against Indiana and start talking about trading Cat. He's the problem. Defensively, he didn't do this. Defensively, he didn't do that. The man averaged close to 25 points and 12 rebounds? When the last time the New York Knicks had a center that could produce like that? I'll wait. When is the last time? It hasn't happened in a long time. And stars don't want to come here because this is a straight testament to how ungrateful the fans, the media, and people in New York are. Okay, I'm going to respond to you. The problem is that he does that, but when does it matter? It matters when you make it to the Eastern Conference Final. That's when it does. It matters when you are one of the 4 teams left out of 30 teams? That's when it matters. See, people love to go and act as if you don't win a championship, you didn't have a successful season. That's not true. Because all year long, this New York Knicks team have gave their fan base some hope. Can the Utah Jazz fans base say that? Can the Brooklyn Nets fan base say that? No. No, they can't. So we as fans, we have to stop being ungrateful and understand we can't have it all. 25-12. I'll say it again, 25-12. That's what the average against Indiana. And then people start to say, oh, defensively this, defensively that. How about the guys who didn't even average 10 points? Let me read this comment real quick. Yeah. Every year collapse. No, they don't do it every year. Knicks haven't been to the playoff, to the Eastern Conference Final in 25 years. 25 years. So they don't do it every season. No, sirree. The Knicks does not do this every year. You got to be grateful, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first time they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years. This is the first time the New York Knicks made it to the finals, Eastern Conference Finals, in 25 years. And we got to understand this. We have to understand this. There was 14 teams that didn't even make it to the playoffs at all. There were teams that got bumped in the first round, second round, third round. The Knicks had a good season this year. The Knicks had a good season. But like I said, you can't have it all. Sometimes you got to just be able to accept what you got and keep it moving. It's like having a very, very, very attractive woman, but she don't have a big breast. She don't have a big behind. Can't have it all. Sometimes you just got to appreciate what you have. And it's just irrational for the New York Knicks, the organization, the media, New York City media, to sit around, and one guy had the nerve to say, trade Cat immediately. For who? Help me out with this. Help me out with K. Help me out with who should they trade? What should they do with him? Because I love when you guys say, get another star. How? Who? Where? The Knicks is playing 6 players right now. 6 players. Robinson, Cat, Bronson, Jason Hart, OG, and what's the other guild? Mikal Bridges. That's it. They're playing 6 players. How are they going to get another star? They over the first apron, and if they sign anybody as a free agent, they will go over that second apron. Luxury tax we talking about, ladies and gentlemen, luxury tax. So who is this second star that they signing? How are they going to get them? You only have 6 players on your roster with value. It's only 6 players on that roster that have any value whatsoever. So we started to talk about, oh, we need another star. And it said, that sounds good. I love it. I love it. It sounds good. But the $1 million question I'm going to ask you guys is, how do we make this happen? It's easier said than done. But back to the point, do you guys see this trickle-down effect that I'm talking about? I'm talking about we starting off with New York City media. As soon as things don't go New York City media way, it's a problem. As soon as it don't go their way, it's a problem. The first thing you want to say, get rid of this guy. Get rid of that guy. Get rid of this guy. Get rid of that guy. That is the first thing that the New York media starts to say. Give me a second, guys. Just give me 1 second. Hold on. As soon as things don't go the way New York wanted to go, hold on, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. You have to start off with the New York City media. This is a media that's either too high or they go too low. When the Knicks was beating Boston, people was talking like championship. When the Knicks lose to Indiana in the very next series, people are talking about trades. People are talking about, not people, this media is talking about possibly getting rid of Tibbs, which is a joke. I seen one article that said Tibbs restored New York, but for them to make it to the next level, they must get rid of him. For who? For who? This team is built around Tibbs persona. I'm going to say it again. This team is built around Tibbs persona. So we started talking about we need to get rid of him. Who are we getting rid of him for? What coach are we bringing in? And what do we expect that coach to do that Tibbs is not doing? It's ridiculous. New York City media, stop it. You are the reason why the Knicks can't sign no big free agents. You are the reason. Because who wants to go through this? I play my heart out and I fall short, and then you guys talk about me like a dog. And this is how you know these guys that's writing this stuff has never played the sport. Because in the sports, it's only one winner. So everybody else walks away with disappointment. I'm going to say it again. In sports, there's only one winner. So everybody else walks away disappointed. And New York City media, they act like they're used to something. They act like the city is used to something when it comes to basketball. We're not used to nothing. Most of us have never even seen the New York Knicks win a championship. So New York City media, stop it. You are the problem. You are the problem. Nobody wants to come play for the city basically because you guys. You talk highly of players when they win it, and you talk down on players when you lose. Stop it. And your rhetoric trickles down to the fan base. Tomorrow, oh baby, turn on New York City radio, ladies and gentlemen, turn it on. You're going to hear rhetoric at its best, ladies and gentlemen. You will hear rhetoric at its best. Tomorrow, you know what's going to happen? People are going to be coming in, calling in. Oh, man, they're going to be cursing the whole Knicks team out. They're going to be cursing the whole Knicks team out. Meanwhile, through the process of them winning them 51 games, these same individuals was praising these guys. But they lost. So the way New York City fans feel, F these guys right now. That's how they feel. Why? Because they lost. It's not cool. That's not cool. So the rhetoric from the reporters and the media, it trickles down to the fan base. But like I said, the real culprit with all this is ownership, the front office. Because nowhere do they step in and put this foolishness to bed. When do ownership step in and say, listen, man, Tibbs did a good job. For the past 2 seasons, we don't won 50 or plus games. Listen, Towns did a good job. He averaged blah, blah, blah. He was an NBA Eastern Conference Center All-Star this year. When the last time, Knicks, you could say that? When the last time you had 2 guys from your team enter into the All-Star game? When? You guys got to stop fronting and acting like y'all better than who you are. Stop fronting and acting like you're used to success. Because New York, you're not used to success. You're not. You are not used to success. It took you 25 years to get back to an Eastern Conference final. What does that say? You're not used to success. And as soon as you obtain a little success, you guys don't even know how to act. You don't even know how to act. And this is why people are like, man, listen, I can go anywhere else. Go somewhere where I'm going to be more appreciated. Because as an athlete, how can you feel appreciated if you go into a series against the Indiana Pacers and average 24.8, and grab, what, 12, 14 rebounds a game, and then your name is in the headline saying you need to be traded because you didn't play well defense. And then these guys in the media, they love the cap. They have the audacity to say, according to players. What players? What players is this? That came running to y'all saying, we are frustrated with Cap because he didn't play defense. What players is that? Because if players literally did this, Cap could say, well, I'm frustrated with them. Because outside of Brunson, who consistently scored? So that streak goes two ways. But I don't believe that, ladies and gentlemen. Because I just don't believe that these players would run to the New York City media and tell them we are frustrated with Cap because he wasn't playing good defense. That's just the Cap and the media. These guys are lying. Nobody's running to them, telling them nothing. They're trying to sell stories. They clickbait, and that's what this is. This was all about, ladies and gentlemen. This is what it's all about. Clickbait, clickbait. But I'm going to tell you guys, because you guys are so unappreciative, this is why you always find yourself right back in the trick bag. Because let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this. The way a normal NBA organization works, they work in stages of degrees. Let's say 3 years ago, we made the playoffs. Then let's say, okay, let me go back. Let me go back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at the Detroit Pistons. If the Detroit Pistons, who made it to the playoffs this year in the first time in God knows how many years, they got bumped in the first round. Fine. Let's say they come back next year and they make it to the second round. And then a year afterwards, they make it to the third round. Do you think the people out there in Detroit be talking about trading a star player because he didn't play defense? Or do you guys think that Detroit Pistons will be saying, hey, next year, we trying to get to the championship? That's what they be saying. But like I say, I blame the organization because the organization don't never shut it down. So when you don't shut something down, you leave the doors open for speculation. That's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. You leave the doors open for speculations. Because when is front office going to step in and say, Cat ain't going nowhere, our coach ain't going nowhere? We're going to take this off season to see if we can improve on this team, and we running it back. When do you hear the organization say that? I'm listening. They don't never say that. So being that they don't never say that, they keep the doors open for the drama. And when they keep the doors open for the drama, right? This is what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. When they keep the doors open for the drama, what ultimately happens is this. And now all of a sudden, it begins to cause chaos amongst the organization. Because let's just say, for argument's sake, let's say Cat believed that New York City players went to the media complaining to them about his defense. As a player, how do you interpret that? You can't interpret it as something good. You have to obviously interpret that as a negative. So now, how do I continue and proceed to play with these guys if that was the case? If that's the case, ladies and gentlemen, if my co-workers is going behind my back, talking to the media about me in a negative way, how or why would I want to continue to work with them? See what I'm saying? New York City media is creating all type of drama. This is why the Knicks can't get nowhere year after year. Year after year, it's constant drama that the New York City media is causing. And like I said, front office has failed to ever shut that down. Because you could shut that down quickly. Quickly, ladies and gentlemen, you can shut that down quickly. As soon as the reports get out there, front office can step up and say, listen, let's do this. There are no changes going on. There will be no major changes going on. We running it back with the same squad. We did better this year than we did last year, so why should we make any changes? They could quickly shut that down. But apparently, the ownership is part of the drama. They like the drama too. Because they have failed to ever shut anything down. So they let this stuff linger. And you know what they say about a lie. Lies is entertaining. These lies are very entertaining. So when people get to lying, the lies become entertaining. So because the lies are entertaining, people run with it. And then the players, they begin to wonder, because if you tell a lie long enough, it becomes believable. So the players start to wonder at some point, damn, is this true? Is it true? Maybe it's true. This is what happened, ladies and gentlemen. They start to think, hey, maybe this is true. Maybe it has some validity to it. And then all of a sudden, you got chaos. Because if you start to believe that it's a possibility that it's true, then what happens is you begin to wonder, who said it? Who said it? And you start to watch people moves. And you say, damn, the guy right there, look at him. He act a little funny. He act like he didn't want to speak to me. Maybe he said it. Then again, this dude right here, you know, he been acting a little standoffish. Maybe he said it. Guy over here acting too nice. Maybe he the one that said it. And this is why it's always chaos in New York. This is why it's always chaos in New York. The chaos starts with the media. It trickles down to the fan base. And when the media and the fan base continues to say it, it seeks in the minds of the players. And then once it gets there, here comes the drama. You take a thing that's good, that could have potentially turned into something more than good, possibly great. You take that, and what happened? You ruin it. You destroy it. I've seen it. I've been out here my whole life. Look at me. I'm in my 50s, and I've seen it. Though I was born when New York Knicks won their last championship. I don't remember that. I was a baby. So I'm on the side of I've never witnessed the Knicks win a championship. But this is the reason why. We have a media system that's horrible. We have a media system that makes people think that if we don't win, we need to automatically start blowing things up. We need to start making changes. This is what media puts out there. We have a media system that like to point fingers. It has to be somebody's fault. Whatever happened to the better team won? Whatever happened to that? New York City, they don't believe in that, obviously. They believe in we lose, it's this person's fault. And since it's their fault, we need to make changes. And then when you make the changes and things don't turn out the way you want it to turn out, do you know what we do? We turn back around and say, hey, we should have never made that change. So if you use the trade cat, which would be foolish, and then you go get somebody else and it don't work out, the same people that's yelling trade cat is going to be the same people that's saying you shouldn't have traded them. So damn if you do, damn if you don't. But in closing, the organization could quickly put an end to all its foolishness by stepping up and saying, we like what we got and we sticking with it. Good night.